The training course entitled Communication Narrow the Gap began in May 2017 with 15 students with disabilities. This is part of the project Communication Training for People with Disabilities. It's jointly implemented by the United Nations Development Programme UNDP and the Will to Live Center, a Vietnamese social enterprise providing comprehensive integration for people with disabilities. The course aims to help young people with disabilities have basic media skills, create their own communication products that reflect their views on the issues of their own community as well as the world around them. Those students spent 2 months learning under the guidance of experienced directors and cameramen of Vietnam television. With the knowledge gained from the course, the students came up with their own ideas and made 4 short films to be shown at the graduation ceremony held at the United Nations building in Hanoi late last month. These media products give viewers a new perspective on the community of people with disabilities in particular and other social issues in general. Hello and welcome to Sharing Vietnam. In our program today, we'll have a conversation with Ms. Akiko Fuji, Deputy Country Director of the United Nations Development Programme or UNDP here in Vietnam. She will share with us insights into a project of UNDP to narrow the communication gap for people with disabilities. So hello Ms. Fuji, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
First of all, could you share with us the reasons for UNDP to work with the NLS Center to implement the Communication Narrow the Gap project?
The first and very important reason is about the fact that access to information and the information, the freedom to express our opinions is a very fundamental principles of human rights. As described and agreed upon by the states, the many states, including Vietnam, in the UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So, under that principle, UNDP is very interested in promoting the human rights and particularly access to information and the freedom of expression. The second reason is, of course, access to information can lead to the other parts of the opportunities in your life. Access to information also leads to access to education, access to basic health services, access to opportunities, and develop your careers, empowering one's ability to develop further. And access to physical mobility. So access to information is actually a very important step towards practicing one's human rights, but also leading to higher level of opportunities in people's life.
How do you describe the importance of accessing information and taking part in communication activities for people with disabilities?
I think one important element is, often media, particularly mainstream media, has a tendency of focusing on the wider mainstreaming sort of agenda, and sometimes tend to miss out the pockets of society which may have unique challenges for such cases like people with disabilities, who have unique challenges. And it's very important for the mainstream media to pick up these pockets of issues to make sure that the society will care about the different unique challenges of the different groups of people, including the people with disabilities. The secondly, I think important part is the information and opinions and the voices represented by people with disability, by themselves, not on behalf for them. It is extremely important that their lens and visions and advice will come through their lens with their own voice. And empowerment is a very important part of the whole process. So not somebody else representing them, but they themselves represent and have a voice to mention and to raise their concerns about the society and the communities.
In your opinion, what are the opportunities for people with disabilities in Vietnam to access information and participate in communication activities?
Vietnam actually has a very positive legal framework, one of which, of course, is a ratification of the UN Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities. That has been ratified by Vietnam government, which is a very positive move. And of course, the legal framework, comprehensive framework on the law on people with disabilities. And other legal frameworks which specifically mentions, make reference to the conditions and the care for the people with disabilities. So that's that legal provision, which of course can be improved to include, to strengthen more, but that is a very good starting point and opportunity. The other opportunity that we have, I think some of the mainstream medias have started using various tools and methodologies, which would help inclusion of the people with disabilities, maybe people with hearing challenges or sight, the sight language used at some of the national programs or mainstreaming news media channels is very, very encouraging, and we hope that more of those opportunities would continue.
Thưa các bạn, ở Việt Nam, người khuyết tật di chuyển bằng xe lăn thì khó khăn là điều hiển nhiên, nhưng không phải ai cũng hiểu được cái niềm khó khăn đó. Vậy thì hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng nhau thử xem khi mà một người không khuyết tật, họ sẽ sử dụng xe lăn như thế nào và họ sẽ gặp phải những khó khăn ra sao nhé. Trải nghiệm cái cảm giác đi lại ấy.
Trải nghiệm cảm giác đi lại đúng không ạ?
Vâng.
Chắc là hơi khó một chút. Lên dốc thì anh nghĩ thì ok, nhưng lên xuống bậc thì anh nghĩ hơi khó khăn.
Từ cái bậc nhỏ như kia như anh được không anh? Thôi.
Bậc nhỏ là anh cũng thấy hơi khó. Bây giờ anh sẽ thử cái cảm giác lăn đến bắc kia nhá.
Ok.
Ok chưa? Anh nghĩ là đường thẳng thì làm được đấy. Anh nghĩ là hơi khó đấy. Ôi trời, cái này thì anh nhưng mà không ai hỗ trợ á?
Không ạ.
Không ai hỗ trợ thì anh phải lên làm sao?
Anh thử tay đùi xong anh lên từ sau.
Anh thấy kiểu này hơi kỳ quá. Ok. Wow. Chỉ cái bánh này nó không có thẳng lên, khó lên. Thôi em bỏ.
Dự án vừa rồi truyền thông thu hẹp khoảng cách thì là có 15 bạn, thì là 15 người khuyết tật các cái dạng khác nhau, thì là mỗi người sẽ có một cái khó khăn riêng, Riêng đối với bản thân em thì em là một dạng khuyết tật về chiều cao, thì khi mà đứng phỏng vấn này, nếu như mà em mà đứng quay phim ấy thì là phải bắc ghế lên, hoặc là cái người mà phỏng vấn phải ngồi ghế thấp xuống thì em mới cầm được cái máy mà đủ ngang với cái người mà được phỏng vấn. Hay là những cái người mà người ta ngồi xe lăn, hay là những người mà người ta phải đi nặng, đi khập khẽnh một chân ấy, thì là khi mà những cái phóng sự mà như là trải nghiệm xe lăn thì phải chạy theo nhân vật, thì khi mà những người đấy mà đi theo nhân vật được quay ấy, thì là sẽ bị chân sẽ bị khấp khiễng chứ không bằng được như những người không khuyết tật. Thì là như thế thì nó sẽ làm cho cái khung hình của mình nó bị giật rung, xem cho người xem nó bị chóng mặt đấy. Các bạn khuyết tật nếu như mà cho các bạn học kỹ hơn, học chuyên sâu hơn thì là các bạn cũng sẽ làm những cái bộ phim tốt như những người mà không khuyết tật. Cơ bản là phải trang bị cho họ các cái kỹ năng cho đầy đủ và có các cái máy móc để mà hỗ trợ họ.
Well, you have watched the video clips under the Communication Narrow the Gap project, so can you share with us your impressions?
I liked all of them. All the 4 films have different, techniques, different focuses, the different stories to tell to us. One of them which I would like to especially note is somehow, making the policy recommendations. I think there was a film which was specifically focusing on the difficult, unique challenge of people with mobility difficulty on wheelchairs to travel in the city. The setting was in Hanoi, and how it is actually very difficult for a person on wheelchair to use public transport, and how difficult it is for them to even travel on the pavement because of the surface of the pavement not so smooth. And I found that film had many strong policy recommendations which are very, very helpful.
Could you share with us some international experience in supporting people with disabilities to access information and participate in communication activities?
Specific areas, perhaps the positive employment of people with disabilities in the mainstream media, because we are talking specifically about the communication and information area. As I mentioned earlier, empowering themselves to express their own voices through the mainstream media has a positive impact, and avoid any misunderstanding and misconcept and the prejudice against people with disabilities. So in order for that to happen, obviously we would require the positive participation by disabled persons organizations to help the individuals with the opportunity for education, opportunity for employment in those areas with information and communication and the media. And some countries are very positive in making sure of the access to education and training for those areas. And I hope that UNDP's this project that we worked with Will to Live contribute towards the one step forward on empowering and the training on the information communication skills with people with disabilities.
Well, Ms. Fuji, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing inspirational insights.
Thank you.
Well, that's all for our Sharing Vietnam today. We look forward to seeing more and more communication products by people with disabilities in Vietnam to raise their own voice. Thank you very much for watching and see you again next time.